What's going on, guys? Hey, this morning I came to a realization that I thought would be very valuable to share. So, quick background. For the last several months, I've spent a lot of time off of social media, and the reason was I wanted to just get my head clear. I wanted a lot more. I wanted to have more focus on the things that I needed to focus on, and it helped tremendously. But if you follow me, you probably have noticed that over the last, about a month, I've been posting pretty regularly in the mornings and sometimes throughout the day. And everything was fine in the beginning, but about like sometime last week, I just started to feel like something was off, and I couldn't figure out what was going on, right? And I mean, I'll even share some of the those symptoms. Like some of those things that I was feeling were like just frustration, lack of patience, a little bit of anxiety, lack of appreciation, and suppressed emotions. Right? Like I wouldn't feel so high. I kind of just felt like bland, and I was just like what? Like everything's great. Like why do I feel like this? You know? So I'm trying to like figure it out. And I didn't realize social media was probably one of those things until right now. But figuring that out and kind of just like talking myself through it, I realized something that it was like a light bulb went off. When I saw it, I was like, oh my God, this is like massive. Like once you start seeing life through this filter, through this like perspective, you have a lot more control over a lot of things. So anyway, that's kind of what I wanted to share today. So I'm gonna go through it. But everything starts from like this perspective or this lens of equation, and an equation that might be familiar to you if you. I can't do two things at once. Hold on. If you're in finance or business, like that's return on investment. It's ROI, right? But ROI isn't just about business. Like you can invest in a relationship and the return is emotional. That is not a financial return, okay? So ROI doesn't have to be monetary is my point. It can be many different things. So I'm gonna explain my problem, so I'm not generalizing anything or anyone else. And hopefully through that example, you can see how it could potentially help you, which is really just ultimately my goal, right? So what I realized is I was started to spend time on social media, right? So I was investing time, okay? And what I realized was like one of those things that I mentioned was like just having a little bit of loneliness, like wanting to be able to socially connect, okay? And when you use social media as a consumer, right? Forget as a business, as a consumer, right? Like you're trying to, look at things that are more like entertainment. Your return is going to be zero. It's always going to be zero, right? And you guys, you don't have to be genius at math. 0 over 1 is 0, right? But the crazy thing, though, the part where this gets interesting is that craving of social connectedness wants you or makes you think, all right, well, you know what, and you're not like actively probably thinking this, but you're like, oh, let me put a little bit more into it, right? So you invest a little bit more, okay? So you have, you invest 2 units of your attention and energy, but the return is still 0, okay? And the problem is you can keep investing more and more and more, but the return is still gonna be 0. And like, if you just think about it on an extreme case, if you put in like 10 units of your attention, energy, effort, and you get 0, you put in a lot more and you still got the same result as 1, right? If you put in 5 minutes into something and you didn't get the result, it's not really that big a deal. But if you put in, 5 hours into something and you still don't get, that thing that you're craving, there's gonna be frustration, right? There's gonna be some sort of like, why am I not getting the thing that I'm getting, right? So, for me, it was like, okay, well, I started putting more time into social media. I was like, all right, well, I'm not really getting anything here. So that's like on a basic level. But it works the opposite way too, right? Like when these would be like, I would consider all of these bad investments, right? If you're putting in more and more energy and effort and time and resources or whatever, and you're still getting, zero, or you're not getting the result that you want, you're going to feel drained. You're going to feel like your energy is going to go down, right? But like I was saying before, it works the opposite too. So like, check this out, ready? So let me just erase this real quick. So even think about like your own relationships. Again, like I'm trying to avoid like the money side of this just for more like example's sake. Like when you have a great relationship with someone and you put in 1 unit of energy into that relationship, you might get like five in return, 5 units, right? It could be like, I don't know how to quantify emotional units, but you put in and you get a lot back, right? And there's some people that, you put in a little bit and you might get just a little bit back, right? And that's fine. Or maybe you put in a little bit and you get the same back, right? That's fine too. Like there's going to be all these are all different types of investments. But again, think about like someone in your life that you just being around them changes everything. Like it changes your life, right? Like you feel good, you feel energized. So, those are people that like this. You put in some effort and you get back a ton, right? So that's on the positive side of things, okay? And the ultimately, like what I kind of like was coming to the conclusion of was, all right, well, when we inevitably have problems come up in our life, right? Where we feel frustration, we feel anger, we feel anxiety, we feel loneliness, we feel whatever it is, right? Any type of, I'm coming from a mental health perspective here, but it could be anything. You feel something negative, right? Being able to look at this could be a very eye-opening perspective for you, because you can start to evaluate your life in a way that will help you understand what you need more of and what you should start to eliminate, right? And I mean, this should, at this point, it's like kind of common sense, right? Like you should start to see this. Like if there are things where you're putting in a lot of energy or effort or resources and you're getting nothing back, those are things that you should probably get out of your life, right? Or remove from your life, okay? And there are going to be other things where you put in a little bit and you're going to get a lot back, right? And those are things you want to prioritize. So the goal, I guess, like if I'm to wrap this up, right? The problems that we face in our lives, like those feelings, those emotions, those are symptoms, okay? But if we can start to bring awareness of the actions that we're taking in our life, right? The investments, right? Be aware of the investments. How are you spending your time? How are you spending your effort? Where's your attention going? Where are your resources going? Where's your money going? You can start to look at those things. Now you have awareness of what's going on, okay? And you can start to identify, all right, well, there's a problem here, there's a good thing here, there's a problem here, there's a good thing here. You start to identify what's good and what's bad, okay? And once you identify what's good and what's bad, by looking at it from this whole perspective, okay, the good stuff is going to energize you, the bad stuff is going to bring you down. And it's as simple as just saying, all right, I don't really want to do this anymore because I'm not getting that return. And I'm going to start doing more of stuff like this because it's giving me more energy. So hopefully that makes sense. Like I said, for me, it was like a very eye-opening realization, because it allowed me to start like auditing what I'm investing into, right? Like, I'm going to be dialing back on social media because, as a consumer, like I'll probably post in the morning, but then I'm going to probably put a limit on there so that, if I spend more than 5 minutes, that thing is off and saying, hey dude, like, get off this app, right? And being able to audit those things in my life and adjusting as necessary and feeding the things that give me high return and eliminating the things that give me low return. So, yeah, that's really it. If you have questions about this, I'd love to know. I mean, I'm probably still going to be like, I feel like I'm always refining things in my own life. Definitely not perfect, but little things like this have helped me just overcome a lot of other like turbulence, I guess you can call it. Anyway, if you have questions, I'm really curious to know what they are. If you have things to add to this that you've learned, I'd also be really curious to learn more about that. So yeah, just putting this out there, one, to help, if bring awareness if it's something that might help you, but then also start a conversation if you know something that I don't. So appreciate you guys for tuning in. If you're still watching this, talk later.